and welcome to this event. I'm truly honored and privileged to be talking to you guys, just sharing my thoughts on what's happening in digital transformation, data disruption. I think we're incredibly excited to partner with Bloomberg in this global event series, The Future of Data, and Singapore version sooner than you think. When you get to my age, you start to forget a lot of things. So I have a cue card just to remind me some of the data, right? So I think it's a very apt thing that sooner than you think things are happening. Just before I start, let me do a quick poll, just a show of hands. For some of you, it'll come very naturally. How many of you are actually deploying or executing on your digital transformation journey? And how many of you are concerned with the massive data lakes which it generates to manage and analyze? Show of hands? Great. And how many of you are adopting cloud or migrating to cloud, or as we call it now, hybrid multi-cloud environment with AI? Fantastic. I think the show of hands is really, really good, and I think it is very much in line with what I thought, right? I honestly feel that data is the new currency and data is the new oil. How many of you call yourself digitally curious? Great. I think Singapore has a bright future. I'm just kidding. Digital technology, as we all know, is disrupting the fundamentals of the business model. No surprise to anyone. The impact of digital technology, in my humble view, over the next 3 to 5 years will be more profound in our daily lives of what we have seen in the last 100 years. It will fundamentally change the way we live, work, and play. So just to substantiate that, let me share with you some of the predictions or forecasts from IDC. By 2020, 50% of the global GDP will be digitized, and 70% of the enterprises will actually move on to digital transformation platform. By 2019, which is this year, 40% of the digital transformation will have some kind of AI services built into it. And while I was talking and networking with a few people, everyone was talking about AI and how Singapore is really trying to define, to be a hub for AI services for this part of the world, which is very encouraging. By 2020, 90% of the enterprises, large enterprises, governments, will try to monetize the massive data lakes being generated. And so data as a service will start to come into this part of the world in the next 1 to 2 years as well. So it's all happening sooner than you think. So, let's look at the market transitions, what's happening around us. Digital transformation, as I said, is top of mind for 70% of the CEOs surveyed recently. And just look at the amount of money getting poured into digital transformation. $2 trillion will be spent this year alone on digital transformation globally. The Asia-Pacific share, APAC share, will be $385 billion this year. That means $1 billion per day. Staggering, right? And that's phenomenal because you need to be a digital native these days to really embrace the digital transformation, right? AI and machine learning, as I said, will further speed up the adoption of digital transformation, and it is already making everything smart. We live in a smart nation, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But I think AI and ML will lead the digital transformation. The other market transition which is happening is 5G. We have Australia and Korea already rolling it out, and very soon we'll see some other countries in this part of the world, Singapore, and other countries adopting it in the next 2-3 years. IoT networks, these will all further drive the digital transformation much faster than we think. So what better example than Singapore? Singapore recently came out, and my friend from EDB is sitting here, that their vision is to make Singapore the big data hub for Asia Pacific. And I think they can do it. They have two beautiful assets which they have. One is the Smart Nation Initiative, which all of us use it in everyday lives. And the second is the highest internet penetration and speed on the planet, I believe. Per capita, right? I think it is up there. It's in the top 1 or 2 at least, right? So I think leveraging this asset, what is Singapore government doing right now is actually trying to take it move that innovation now and investment into AI, blockchain, IoT, and I honestly believe that if one country can do it, it'll be Singapore to make this country a big data hub for Asia Pacific, right? Now, what does this all mean? If you really come to the crux of the whole thing, it is all about digital disruption, generating massive data lakes or data deluge. Then how do you ensure how do you ensure that you store it, you manage it, you analyze it, and you secure it? So data-driven culture, in my view, is happening sooner than you think, and it will become an imperative. And and if you don't adopt a data-driven culture in your organizations, it will be an existential threat to you. Either you disrupt or get disrupted. So how are organizations really trying to deal with the data deluge or the massive data lakes? Three themes are emerging, or three. First is hybrid multi-cloud environment to get the scale and speed with AI. Second thing is data protection is very, very critical. I think, it doesn't matter where the data resides, it needs to be protected, whether it's at rest, in motion, in cloud, on your devices, it needs to be protected. And data analytics is another theme which is emerging very strongly. Not more so, not about the analytics part, but how do we really monetize the data which is at hand? And I think that is the trend we are observing right now, that if you look at that people, citizens, nations are going to monetize the data, in the best way they can. So, I've been given only a couple of minutes, so I just wanted to bring it back home. What are we doing as a company? So first thing I want to dispel, how many of you have heard of NetApp? Great. I just want to dispel a myth. We are not a storage vendor. Right? We are actually, we strive to be a partner of choice in your digital transformation journey. We have, we pioneered a few years ago a vision called Data Fabric Vision. And, the whole ethos of that is on three pillars. How do I give better data visibility and insight to my customers' data? How do I give better data access and control to our customers? And how do I ensure that data is protected and secure? And that was the vision, for us. So I honestly feel that I think digital disruption is here. We need to embrace it. We need to drive a digital-driven culture within our organizations and to be future-ready. And if anyone wants to know more about Data Fabric Vision, we can have a coffee conversation tomorrow morning. Thank you.